Have you ever been in the middle of an argument, heart racing, sharp logic lined up, completely certain you're right, and then suddenly your throat tightens? Your vision blurs, your voice starts to shake, and before you even understand what's happening, the tears spill over. You're not sad, you're angry, you're frustrated. But your body doesn't seem to have received that memo. And in that moment, the person across from you looks at you with a mix of surprise and judgment. Why are you crying? That sentence feels like one more small cut to your dignity. Then the shame sets in. You wonder if you're too weak, too sensitive, too immature. You just want to be a strong adult who can argue without falling apart. But instead, it feels like your body is betraying you at the very moment you need it most. I want you to pause for a second. Maybe you're not crying because you're weak. Maybe you're crying because you care too much. You invest 150% into the truth, into the relationship, into fairness. And any engine running at 150% generates heat, a lot of heat. Perhaps the problem isn't a lack of control, but a system running beyond capacity. In the next part, I'll explain why crying when you're angry isn't a sign of collapse, but an intelligent biological mechanism. But first, if you've ever felt ashamed for crying in anger, stay with me. What you're about to hear may change the way you see yourself. To understand why you cry when you're angry, we need to step away from psychology for a moment and move into biology. Imagine a marathon runner sprinting toward the finish line. Their muscles heat up, their heart pounds, their body temperature rises. Without a cooling mechanism, they would collapse. So the body produces sweat. When you see someone sweating, you don't think they're weak. You know they're operating at full capacity. Tears during anger work the same way. They are emotional sweat. When you enter a heated argument, your nervous system interprets it as a high-stakes situation. Your heart rate increases, adrenaline floods, your bloodstream, your focus narrows. You're not just talking, you're preparing to fight. When this level of activation exceeds a safe threshold, the brain flips another switch. The parasympathetic nervous system, this is the rest and recover system. It releases chemicals that slow the heart rate and cool the body down. One of the most visible side effects of that cooling process is tears. You're not collapsing, you're cooling down to prevent combustion. But there's an even deeper layer that rarely gets discussed. Your body is like an ancient bodyguard, a little overprotective, but fiercely loyal. It cannot distinguish between an argument with your boss and a life or death confrontation in prehistoric times. When voices rise and eyes sharpen, your internal bodyguard assumes danger is near. And it chooses a surprisingly wise strategy. Reduce the other person's aggression. Tears aren't just liquid. They carry biological pulse signals that can soften aggressive responses in others. In other words, your body may be trying to de-escalate the conflict. It's not betraying you. It's protecting you in the only way it knows how. However, understanding this intellectually isn't enough. When the emotional wave rises, the logical part of your brain often goes temporarily offline. You might hear everything I'm saying today and still forget it in your next argument. That's normal. So instead of trying to remember everything, choose one tool and practice it until it becomes automatic. The first tool sounds almost silly, but is remarkably effective. Look up. When your eyes start to sting and your throat tightens, gently lift your chin and look toward the ceiling or the highest point in front of you. Looking down reinforces withdrawal and inward focus. Looking up activates visual processing and alertness. That simple shift in gaze can buy you a few crucial seconds. If that's not enough, engage your logical brain with a challenging mental task. Don't choose something easy like 2 + 2. Try subtracting 7 repeatedly from 100. When you force yourself to calculate, you redirect blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for reasoning. Intense emotion and complex calculation cannot peak simultaneously. Like a seesaw, when one side rises, the other falls. You're using biology to support yourself. If you feel like you're being pulled out of the present moment, ground yourself through your senses. Quickly name 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste. This exercise pulls you out of the internal storm and back into the room. It reminds your nervous system that you are safe. There will be times, however, when the wave is too strong and tears are about to spill over. In that case, take a strategic pause. Ask to get a glass of water, not to escape, but to reset. When you take a small sip, the act of swallowing helps relax the throat muscles that are tightening. In those 60 seconds, gently shake out your hands to release excess adrenaline, Take a slow breath and return with a steadier voice. That's not failure. That's strategy. And if it's already too late and the tears fall, there's one important rule. Don't apologize for your physiology. Don't diminish yourself by saying, "Sorry, I'm too sensitive." Instead, name what's happening. You might say, "These are tears of frustration, not sadness." Or, "This is just a physiological response because I care deeply about this issue." When you say that you reclaim control, you signal that even if your body is reacting, you are still in the driver's seat. What may surprise you is that this emotional intensity is also your strength. The ability to care deeply, to react strongly to injustice, to invest fully in relationships, that's not weakness. It's a high-performance engine. The goal isn't to shut it down, it's to learn how to cool it when necessary. If you've ever felt ashamed of those tears, try looking at yourself with a bit more respect. Your body has been working hard to keep you safe. And now you have tools to cooperate with it instead of fighting it. Choose one technique today and practice it while you're calm. Don't wait for the storm to remember it. In the next part, we'll talk about how to turn this emotional intensity into an advantage in communication and leadership. If you want to understand how your high heat brain works, keep following and apply at least one tool starting today. Don't just listen and forget. Try it and observe the difference. There will still be arguments where the tears arrive before you can catch them. There will be moments when your voice trembles and you think not again. That does not mean you failed. It means you are human. What hurts most is usually not the anger itself, but the second arrow you shoot at yourself afterward. The shame. The quiet voice that says, "Why can't you just be normal?" I want you to stop firing that second arrow. Your intensity is not a defect. It is evidence. You care deeply. You invest fully. You show up at 150% when something matters. Most people never run their engines that hard. They stay cool because they are only half in. You burn hot because you are all in. And yes, high-performance engines need better cooling systems, but no one calls a race car weak for overheating. They upgrade the radiator. So the next time tears rise in the middle of a heated conversation, take a breath, look up, remember what is happening inside your body. This is not collapse. This is calibration. You are not losing control. Your system is protecting you. And if the tears fall anyway, keep speaking. There is profound dignity in crying and continuing to tell the truth. Here's the part that may sting. If you keep calling yourself weak, you are misunderstanding your own design. Stop insulting your wiring. Start learning it. Choose one tool from today and practice it this week. Don't just watch, apply it. And if you're ready to understand the deeper architecture of your sensitive, high-output mind, stay with me and subscribe. We're just getting started.